Hi, and welcome to this reflection in these days of COVID-19. Today I'm at the crossroads at Ballydeffet, on the cusp of my 2 kilometres radius from the house. In these days, we find ourselves exploring more of the area inside that 2 kilometre radius to go for walks, to get fresh air, to get exercise. We usually go with company. Today I'm not because I'm doing this. But we do it to spend time catching up on things that we've read or done or been thinking about in these days. Walking is good for those kind of conversations. Luke 24 records a walk of two of Jesus' disciples, Cleopas and a disciple that's not named, so we know it's not two of the 12, and they're seemingly going home to Emmaus. They're having a conversation about everything that had happened on their way. They've witnessed Jesus' death and have heard testimonies of his resurrection. Yet, in verse 17 of Luke 24, we are told they were downcast. It seems that they do not believe. And it's understandable because they have just witnessed the death of their master, the one that they called a prophet and who's powerful in word and deed. To then be told that he is alive is too much for them. So they decide that rather than hold on to this unlikely possibility that he has risen from the dead, regardless of the testimonies, they go home because their hope in him has been dashed once already through the cross. And to let that hope arise again is more than they can bear. As they walk along the road, Jesus joins them, but they don't recognize who he is. And he asks them, "What are you discussing together as you walk along?" They stop. Their faces are downcast. And then Cleopas asks, "Are you the only one in Jerusalem who does not know the things that have happened in these days?" Jesus' question stops them in their tracks. His question stops them in their tracks, and they, their answer reminds us or tells us how widespread the news of Jesus' death has become. It'd be like meeting somebody today who knew nothing of COVID-19, social isolation or cocooning. We would be asking them what rock they'd been hiding under, that they didn't know what was going on in these days. Jesus doesn't take the bait. He asks, what things? He wants their take on it. Do you know that Jesus is interested in your take on things? Your point of view? Throughout his ministry, he asked questions to get people's opinions. At times he commended the answers, other times he broadened the thinking, and other times he just told them they were wrong. Here once again we find that he's not interested in a dictatorship, but in a relationship. Yeah, Jesus is interested not just in who we might be and can be, but in who we currently are. So he asks the disciples, what things? Tell me. So the disciples, they tell him the things about Jesus of Nazareth and how he was sentenced to death and crucified. They tell of their hope that they had in him, that he was going to be the one who would redeem Israel. And in their statement, this sense of lost hope is evident. They tell Jesus that this is now the third day since all this happened. And then they stop and they say, yet some of our women amazed us. They went to the tomb, but didn't find his body. And then they tell of an angel that said he had risen. Some of the other disciples had also gone and confirmed that he was not there. Then Jesus speaks. He says, how foolish are you? Or you are. How slow to believe all that the prophets have spoken. Did not the Messiah have to suffer these things and then enter his glory? And then, beginning with Moses and the prophets, he began to explain to them all that was said in the scriptures concerning himself. Now, if there's ever a conversation that Jesus had with people that I would have loved to have been party to, that's it. Wouldn't it have been amazing to hear what he had to say about himself? How jaw-dropping, how mind-blowing, how eye-popping it would have been. How many times would we have said, "Oh yeah," as he explained the truth of the gospel. He doesn't just rebuke them, but rather he wants them to understand so that they would believe. When they get to their destination, they urge Jesus to stay with them, and when he breaks bread at dinner, the veil falls from their eyes and they recognize him for who he is. And then in that moment he disappeared from their sight. And they say to each other, "Were not our hearts burning within us while he talked with us on the road and opened the scriptures to us?" The 2 disciples immediately went back to Jerusalem and to the 11 disciples and told them, "It is true, the Lord has risen." Hope had been reawakened. Maybe in these days you need to have your hope reawakened. Maybe you need it to be reassured. Maybe then you just need to go for a walk with Jesus. Of time when you can put your phone away, move away from the distractions, and just invite him to speak to you in your spirit. Consider these times and all that is happening. And in that, remember too who Jesus is, all that he has done. And when you do, simply invite him to fill in the gaps. And he'll tell you all you need to know to affirm, assure, correct, and direct your path to his way. Let us pray. God our Father, you walk with us on our journey of life. You're there with us in each moment of the day. You walk in the days of sunshine and the days of rain and cold. You walk with us in the days of certainty and the days of uncertainty. The days of confidence and the days of wonder and ponder and confusion and doubt. You walk with us along the road. And so, Lord, we thank you. And we ask that you would walk with us today and every day as we go through these days of COVID-19, days when we cannot be together, so that we know that you are with us.